How can a movie with puppets help you run a better game of Dungeons and Dragons? Well, that's what we're going to talk about here today on Templar's Tabletop. Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Well, we're all about making your role-playing games AAA. Affordable, approachable, and awesome. Just like this book, this is the Dark Crystal adventure game. It's by Riverhorse Games, and we're going to talk about some principles that it uses to make games of Dungeons and Dragons really, really awesome. So how did I find out about this? Well, you can see we actually have the Dark Crystal on here in the background. Apparently it's free on YouTube, so go watch it if you haven't. But I've always really loved this franchise. I've always loved Jim Henson films and puppets. I've been into RPGs as well, and so when I first saw this book, this is the Labyrinth version of the game, I was really excited because I thought, oh, kind of like a match made in heaven. And I haven't got a chance to play these a lot, but these are actually just some of my favorite books to look at, and I think there's some great principles that we can take. Let's go on over to the book cam and take a look at it. So first off, by the way, just David Bowie. You can't argue with David Bowie. That his smoldering power, that's just a selling point all of its own. Aside from that, in just this book, we'll talk about the layout and the design. Man, they really did a great job with laying everything out. They've got some nice bookmarks in here. There's a lot, for almost all of the adventure sections have really cool maps. We'll talk about the random tables that go with everything in just a minute. But first of all, the feel is just nice. They did a really, really great job with presentation. Another little fun fact here, the adventure writer for this one is Ben Milton. And if you have watched the channel for any time, you've maybe heard me mention that name. He's one of a large YouTuber in the space when it comes to OSR gaming, and so he contributed to the adventures, did a great job. Well done on that, Mr. Milton. So design and art are great. That's a great first step in a book, but why do I like this? What can actually you take as a game master that will help you run better games? A few things. Number one, this is a simple system. Now, I know a lot of people that like to crunch your system say, well, that doesn't mean it's better. I agree. But what's nice is that this is compact enough that if you wanted to run a game with it, it's really easy to modify, make rulings on the fly, and to come up with things quickly. So whatever system you run, make sure that you understand it enough that you can own it, that you're not fumbling around with the rules. All the rules in this fit in just a couple of pages, and so it's really easy to make your own. But aside from that, stay with me, rules heavy people. What else can you take away from it? Let's talk about the next thing, and that is the way that they lay out their adventures. So if you take a look here, all of the scenes are basically on 2-page spreads. Ben Milton loves doing that. On one side, there's a simple map that gives you an overview of where things are, some descriptions of what things are doing, but then the really genius part is that for each of these scenes, there's going to be some random tables that give either various objectives, various characters you might encounter, or ways the scene might be modified. Now, why are random tables and modularity, why is that important to running an adventure? When you add an element of uncertainty where you as the game master don't know, it can make the scenes a lot more dynamic. I've run a lot of one-shots at conventions, and if you just run the same thing over and over again, as a game master, no matter what the players do, there's a tendency that you can fall into the trap of just doing the same thing. You're not reacting to your players, you are just running the thing as it's predetermined. But when you have that element of randomness, what's nice is that even as a game master, you can get surprised. Now, there's going to be a little bit of improv that's necessary, and that does take some practice just like anything. But what's really fun is that when it feels fresh for everybody, that's when the scenes are exciting. When nobody knows what's going to happen, there's this adage empowered by the Apocalypse games of play to find out what happens next. The big idea is that everyone is working together to find out what is going to happen, which is really, really fun. So the combination of excellent design, the 2-page layouts so that you don't have to flip for anything, everything is right there, and that modularity are what makes this book one of my favorites. However, I would actually say that even though I absolutely love Mr. Milton's contribution to this book, if I was going to play one, I would actually probably bring this one to the table. The Labyrinth is fantastic, but the tone is just a little bit more on the lighthearted side, whereas the Dark Crystal, it's got that perfect fantasy tone for me. So another tip that I wanted to give is when you're looking for a system, try to find something that's tonally appropriate for what you want as a game master and what your players are interested in. What I like about the Dark Crystal is that there is a little bit of lightheartedness. We've got puppets going on, but there's also just this underlying sense of if the characters don't succeed, something dramatically bad is going to happen. And I love that it's fantastical. There's a little whimsy, but there's just enough edge and stakes to make it realistic. It's not fully slapstick. it commits to its characters and there's real stakes to it. So I like that little bit of edge to it as well. Let's take a quick look at this book real quick. So again, what's really cool about this, same thing, the 2-page layouts. So I really credit the Labyrinth for doing it so well the first time. I think that book paved the way for this one to be so successful as far as the design features. But really, really great job with the maps, with the randomization of the characters that you could read. And also, too, what's really cool in this one is that as you're playing, there's this big countdown of you're trying to stop the darkening from happening. And what that means is that if you aren't going fast enough as players, your scenes can get worse. So there's a lot of really great examples of how the scene can get worse. There's little boxes that explain how the scene might be dramatically bad if your characters are not gathering these seeds in time to stop the calamity. So really cool art again, a lot of really great items. At the back here, there's a really cool bestiary that's got all sorts of different creatures that your players can fight. And so this is just really feels like a fully compact system. All the rules for character creation and actually playing the game fit in the first section, and then the actual storyline is really well laid out and it goes throughout the rest of the book. So as far as just books, I think they're great. The design is awesome. They're a nice, fully complete package all put together, and the combination of well laid out pages, flexible and lightweight rule system, and then giving that little bit of randomization to keep things fresh that's why it's one of my top RPG books, and I'm hoping to play it someday, maybe even here on this channel, do a little solo play. So the principles that we can take away: great design, have a little bit of replayability, and make sure that you own that system. So what do you guys think? Are you going to check these books out? And my thought for you and my question of the video in the comments is, what makes the perfect system for you? What can you take from the game that you love and apply it to how you run your games? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Feel free to check out some of my games in the link in the description, or if you want to book a game to play with me and start playing, I'd love to hear from you, and maybe we can make something happen. So thank you guys so much for watching. Give me some love in the comments. God bless, happy gaming, and until next time, watch out for Skeksis. They're very, very scary.